Checked. Stop recording checkbox.
Hello, people, and I hope you guys are having a great morning, afternoon, or evening. This is To Me 13 or To Me, whichever works for you, and this is a breakdown of how I made Venom, which is the beat that I made for the Amapiano beat contest. Now, honestly, I wasn't really thinking I would win this because I was making this in a bit of a hurry because I had other things to do because I'm a college student, so I'm pretty occupied. Um, so this was created rather quickly. So I was actually kind of surprised that I ended up winning. So I'm really grateful to Afrobeat producers for um, letting all of us, not just me, but everyone in the Afrobeat producers community have a chance to communicate with each other, collaborate with each other, uh, you know, be contestants, just general things like that. It's something to really appreciate. So in this screen recording, and I hope this is actually recording because I'm actually a blind individual. I'm a blind music producer, so I have no vision whatsoever. And I will show you that in a second because I have my screen reader on, which tells me what is on the screen. And this is actually how I make my music. So a lot of what I will be doing is using my keyboard and not the mouse. So that is just for some context. There is no mouse usage here because I am not able to use the mouse. So a lot of it is going to be keyboard shortcut based. Um, Now, some people are probably going to be like, well, how is a blind person, supposed to make music? Well, it's quite simple. Some people might think that music comes from, just looking at a bunch of notes on the screen and a bunch of graphics. It's actually not that at all. Anyone can listen to music, and it doesn't have to be on screen in order for you to hear it. And that is how I create my beats. Now, you will hear as when I move across my tracks, you will hear them be spoken by my screen reader. So I'm actually going to do, I'm using a Windows computer, so I'm going to hit Alt-Tab. So hold down Alt, hit Tab.
Venom, Reaper v6.82, Venom.
So this is my project named Venom. Now, I was not there. I was actually on OBS Studio, so I was not able to click there. I actually had to use a keyboard shortcut to get there. And in this window, I have two folders.
One, master.
The master track is showing, so that's not necessarily a folder, but I have two folders. One is
1, closed folder. 0.12 items.
This is part 1, and then the second folder.
27, closed folder. 0.21 item.
And the reason it says 27 instead of 2 is because the first folder contains 26 tracks, and this is because when I imported all the stems, there are tons of stems. Because I took OY's advice and basically did Control A and then pasted everything with Control V into the project, so that I had more flexibility to work with what's available. So what we're actually going to do
1, closed
is we're
folder.
going to go to this closed folder here.
Open.
We're going to open it up, so you just heard it say open.
2 of box 1 item.
Now, right here, if I just play it, just start off.
Play.
We're going to listen to this first section, and we're going to break it down.
Stop.
Okay, So that is part 1 of the track. Part 2 is the other folder, so let's disassemble part 1 first.
2 Avox 1 item.
This is Avox. If I solo this with F6,
Solo, play,
and
stop,
I move...
bar, play, bar 5, bar
I'm using
stop,
page down to move
bar
bars.
13, bar 14, bar 16, play,
That is
stop,
part of the loop itself, so that's one of the stems.
bar 1.
And you can actually hear if I hit control left or right arrow.
1 Afrobeat producers Kunta Beeman 113 BPM Avox.wave.
It's the actual Vox itself. So that's the Vox at the end of the loop.
Unsolved. 3 sax 2 items.
Now, this saxophone is actually supposed to be in the second folder, but I never actually ended up moving it. So we're going to ignore that for now, and we're just going to keep hitting down arrow.
4 Atmos pad 2 items.
Now, this is the atmosphere pad, so if we solo this...
Soloed. Play.
This also belongs to the loop.
Stop.
We're
Unsoloed.
going to unsolo it, and if we press down arrow again...
5 drum fill 2 items.
This is the drum fill.
Soloed.
This comes from...
1 Afrobeat producers Kunta Beeman 113 BPM drum.
The,
Play.
What's it called? This is the, almost like the, I wouldn't say like a crash, but like a transition.
Stop.
Also part of the loop.
Unsolved. 6 FX 3 items.
This
Soloed.
is the
Play.
FX. So that's like the symbol.
Stop. 7 2 items. Soloed.
This is the...
Play.
Oh wait, this is another track that was supposed to be in part 2. Or no, it actually is throughout the song. If you hear it on the right side. I'm actually going to turn on the metronome.
Stop. Metronome on.
With Control-Shift-M.
Play.
So that's throughout like the whole entire thing.
Stop.
Right,
Unsoloed.
unsolo.
8 Huhuvox 2 items.
And if I go to this track,
Soloed.
this is also part of the loop.
Play.
And it sounds strange on its own, but when you combine it with the whole entire thing, it actually makes sense.
Stop. Unsoloed. 9 liquid chord 2 items.
This is the liquid chord.
Soloed. Play.
And
Stop.
this is
1 Afrobeat producer. Play. Stop.
Oh wait. Okay.
Play.
So that's the chords, but you can't
Stop.
really hear them because they're more textured.
10 kick 2 item. Soloed.
This is the kick. Now the kick is actually mine. It doesn't come in for a bit though. It comes in
bar 8, bar 9.
At bar 9.
Play.
Now, if you notice, you kind of have to listen closely. And the reason I did this, the reason I made the kick quieter, was I wanted it to be still there. But I didn't want it to be intrusive on the track. So there's still the bounce to it, but it's not
Play.
too loud.
Stop.
If we unsolo it.
Unsolo. 11 log drum 2 items. Soloed.
Now, there are 2 log drums to this actually.
Play.
So this is what comes with the loop. So this is just the loop, the loop's log drum. This is not mine.
Stop. 12 log roll 6 items.
However, notice I also have a track called log rolls, and if I solo this,
Unsoloed.
both of them are soloed.
Soloed. Play. Stop.
You can hear that I added additional logs.
Play. Stop.
Now, here's how I made it pan around. So on this track, if I press F, because this is an FX chain.
FX, track 12 log rolls. Edit, list 1 list. O.YALDP log drum 7, Rs 5K, 1 of 2.
This is the sampler.
O.YAL.
The sampler is what is used to load the sample, so the log drum itself. And then if you if I hit down arrow,
JS, Tremolo 2 of 2.
This is a built-in plugin called Tremolo, and I essentially set the stats.
Edit selected for
So if I
free.
tab right, that's how I navigate forward.
Edit 0%/0. Edit selected 4.0. Frequency,
I
hertz.
have the frequency set to 4.0.
Amount, dB. Slider -6.0.
And then I have the amount to -6.
Edits stereo separation
and I
slider
have
1.0.
the stereo separation all the way up.
Combo stereo.
Is it all the way
Stereo separation slider 1.0.
Yep, it's all the way up.
0.1.
Okay.
Edit combo box no preset collapse.
And these were all my settings. I didn't use a preset. So
Venom modified.
You have the rolls, but they are panning around because of this tremolo plugin.
Play.
Which is built into Reaper. And I forgot to mention that I use Reaper as my digital audio workstation because I can't use FL Studio. FL Studio does not work with blind individuals because there's no plugin to make it work. And for more context as to how I use all this as a blind individual, I will be putting links down in the description that you can see how I use my computer and just generally make music. So that should hopefully help clear some things up and make it easier to understand how I'm doing all this. So if I continue through my tracks list, and we're actually going to unsolo both of these logs.
11 unsoloed, 12 unsoloed, 13 snare rolls 1 item.
You can notice that there are snare rolls, and we're going to come back to this later because these currently do not apply. This was also supposed to be in part 2's folder, but it's not, and I don't know why. So we'll just ignore it for now.
14 synth machine 2 items, solo.
Now this comes with
play, stop,
the loop.
1 Afrobeat
produce. It starts at
play, bar 2, play, bar 3, bar 4, bar 5, bar 8, bar 9.
It starts at bar 9 and loops for 8 bars. So we're going to stop that. We're going to unsolo it.
15 poison 4 items, solo.
Now I called this poison.
Play.
And you can hear it says 4 items. A lot of these tracks say like there are several items, and that's because I cut certain parts out so that I could provide some transitions. Now since we are on there anyways, these were actually one of the things I manipulated.
1 Afro.
So if I use control right arrow, which allows me to move through items.
2 play.
You can see that later on I actually decreased this poison by an octave.
Stop. 3 play.
And then I increased it by an octave.
4 play.
And then for the last item I decreased it by an octave. So essentially what I did was I made the poison a bit like darker in some parts by decreasing it, and I made it a bit like more obvious in some parts.
Bar 1.
So we're gonna unsolo it.
16 snare 2 1 item, solo.
Now this is a snare.
Play.
And this is actually not the snare that is used in the loop. This is my snare.
Bar 4. Bar play.
Where I actually
bar 5.
Or is this? No, wait. I think this is the...
Add combo box.
No, this
Venom.
is not my snare. This is a loop.
Stop.
Okay.
Unsoloed.
My bad.
17
so
snare 1
is a loop.
1 Afrobeat producers Kunta Beeman 113.
That is also part of the... Or, sorry, this is a stem that is also part of the loop. Never mind.
17 snare 1 item.
I do have my own
solo.
Snare
Play.
in here, though. This is also part of the loop, so if I put these together...
Solo. Play.
So those are both part of the loop.
Stop.
And if I unsolo these...
18 sub bass 1 item, solo.
We have a sub bass.
Play.
Which is also part of the loop. I didn't include
1 Afrobeat
sub bass.
19 synth 1 item,
There's also
solo.
a synth.
Play. 1 Afro bar 10.
That doesn't start for a
bar
while.
13. Play.
There it is. And it's essentially like it complements the synth machine.
Uns 20 Addy Vox 4 items.
Now
Soloed.
this is additional Vox.
Play.
And
Stop.
this is a loop I got from Afrobeat Producers Vocal Loops pack.
1. Afrobeat Producers Vox Loop B to 114.
So it's actually not from this loop. I got it from a different place. If I use Shift 9, or also known as left parentheses,
+9 semitone.
and I pitch it down,
+2 semi. 0 semi.
you might recognize it.
Play.
This is what it originally is in the pack.
Stop.
But what I did was I pitched it up. Let's see. How many
+2 semitones. +7 semi. +8. +9. Play.
10
Stop.
semitones. So it's up by 10. It's plus 10. And if I hit Control right arrow,
2.
you can see I did the same thing with the vocal, just like I did with Poison.
Play.
I pitched it down.
3. Play.
And in some
Stop.
parts they
4.
were pitched up.
Play. 4.
So similar to what I do with Poison, different pitches at different intervals.
21 rim. 21 rim 2 items.
Now this
Soloed. Play.
is
1. Play.
a rim.
Bar 4.
And this was actually not part of the loop. It was from the same pack, but it wasn't
1.
part of the loop itself. This rim came from the drum loops section.
Play.
It came from one of the drum loops. And it's not like extremely obvious in the song. It's more of like a layer.
Stop.
You can still hear it, but it's not like it doesn't take center stage.
22 tambourine 3 item.
Now this is a tambourine. I also did not get this from the loop. I got this from the drum loops section.
Play. Stop. Unsoloed.
And then
23 shaker 3
we have a
soloed.
shaker. I'm trying to go as fast as I can to basically like avoid wasting time.
Play.
This shaker came from
2 Afrobeat Producers Drum Loop Palazzo 1.
It also came from. Did it come from? I think it either came from the Amapiano pack, the beta pack, or it came from the Afrobeat Producers Golden Edition. Their Beat Pack Golden Edition. The one from the battle that happened back in 2022.
Play.
So this is a shaker. It came from either place. I can't remember
Stop.
which.
24 MDRV 230
Now
soloed.
this
Play. 1 play.
is
Stop.
not from the pack either.
Play.
This is
Stop.
from a
2 MDRV 235 100 and 1.
different pack entirely, actually. I can't remember where I got this, but it's essentially a fill.
Play. Stop.
And it's not the entire fill, actually. All I literally did was I took part of the fill and I cut it with Control Windows X, because that's how you cut something off of a item in Reaper. And
Play. Stop.
I just kept this part.
Unsoloed.
And that's how, and you can hear it if I unmute the whole thing.
Bar
You
7.
can actually hear it.
Play.
And
Stop.
Yeah, it just transitions. Now
25 mallets 2 items.
here
Soloed.
are mallets.
Play.
Now these
Stop.
mallets were mine.
2 0
I
1.
made these. This was not a loop, and I actually copied these mallets from a song a track I made a long time ago, called Deadline.
Play.
And I used them here. And this track called Deadline, you can actually find it on
Stop.
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, all that stuff. So, it's it's not a popular track, but you can locate it on my artist profile.
26 end of folder mallets 2
And there
items.
are 2 mallets. This is the
Play.
on its own, but there's an additional layer. So if I
Stop.
solo the next one,
So play.
so it's lower, and it complements the upper mallet.
Stop.
Now,
all tracks unsolo.
if I unsolo this, we have reached the end of this folder. So this was essentially part 1.
20,
However,
14,
there are parts, there are like tracks in here that belong to part 2, so I'm going to go back to them real quick.
11 log drum 2 items.
And show you guys.
12 log roll 6 items.
Now, this log rolls track,
solo, 110, 210.
Something actually happens later with this.
Play. Stop.
Now, does that sound familiar if I unsolo?
Play. Stop. Soloed.
And
play.
This was mine, because you can tell by how it pans around.
Stop.
And I made a
310.
A manual drum, log drum, session at this part. It's an 8-bar session.
Play. Stop.
And it's essentially there to provide some extra to it. Now, you can tell it stopped all of a sudden, but I'll get to that in a second. And that's because the loop, because I used 2 loops in this, and you'll see that in the second part.
Unsolid. 11 log drum 2 items.
Now, this log drum, that's part of the first part, so we can ignore that.
10 kick 2 items. 9 liquid cord 2, 8 vox 2 items, 7 at 2 item, 6 fx 3 item, 5 drum fill 2 item, 4 atmos pad 2, 3 sax 2 items.
Now, here's the saxophone.
Now,
there are actually 2 tracks, or sorry, 2 items, but they are 2 different sax ad-libs. So, they're in the same folder, they're part of the same pack, but they're 2 separate sax ad-libs. So one is
188 BPM D number M dot wave bar 100 BPM C dot wave bar 29.
One is D sharp.
188 BPM D number M.
Because it says G number, which represents D sharp, and the other one is actually C.
100 BPM C dot wave bar.
One
plus 3 plus 2.
I actually had to pitch it up a few.
100 BPM C dot wave bar 20.
So it's what is it? I think it's plus 3.
Plus 1 plus play. Stop.
No, it's plus 1.
Solo.
So
1
right here is the first one.
Play.
Now
stop.
There's actually effects on this. So if I go in here with F.
FX list 1 list. VST3 M charm verb.
There is a VST called M charm verb, and this is created by Melda Productions. You can
Venom
find this on what is it? Well, I found it on Google. It's one of their free plugins. You need to be careful which plugins you get though, because they're demos, and once the free trial elapses, they will put static over your entire creation, if you use it on the master track or just that track in general that you're using it on. But mcharm verb just so happens to be a free thing, because it has not expired for me, surprisingly. So that's what's on here.
Play.
And now that it's actually soloed, you can tell they're 2 separate saxophones.
Stop.
So we're gonna unsolo that.
Unsolid. 2 vox 1 item.
Now
4 atmos pad. 5 drum fill 2. 6
down.
fx 3 item. 7 at 2. 8 vox. 9 liquid. 10 kick 2. 11 log. 12 log. 13 snare rolls 1 item.
You can see. Is it this one?
110. So play. Stop.
Okay, so this one only has 1 item, and this
bar 7
is that
bar
triplet that happens at bar 18. So if you listen, you can hear it.
Play. Stop.
And that's what leads into part 1, or starts the whole thing up. And you will see what else has that triplet pretty soon here.
14 synth machine 2. 15 poison 4. 16 snare 2. 17 snare 1. 18 sub bass
I'm not
1.
missing anything else.
19 synth 20 addy vox. 21 rim 2. 22 timbre. 23 shaker, 24 MDR, 25
No, I
mallets,
think we're good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the first track.
8 who, 1, open, small, closed.
And now the folder is closed because I pressed enter until it actually closed itself.
27, closed folder. Point to one item.
It's time for part 2. We're gonna open this up.
Open. 1, 27, open folder, solo, play, stop.
And I don't want to solo the folder. So what
Unsoloed.
you can see
28 whispers, 1 item.
Is there were 2 parts to this. This is from one of my tracks called what was it? Emphasis. Yeah, Emphasis. So this is actually me. There are 2 effects on this.
FX. JS.
I think there's 2. Is there more than 2?
VS. JS. VST3. M charm.
No, there's 3. Okay, so we have the M charm verb, just like the saxophone.
JS. Delay W / tempo
we
ping
have
pong 2 of
tempo ping pong, which means it bounces depending on the tempo or depending on what we choose. And what I actually chose for this is half, so it echoes on beat 3.
JS. Channel time delay of 3 of 3.
I have a channel time delay, which means that one channel happens a bit later than the other, so it kind of creates like a little stereo effect. And if I
Venom modify soloed.
You can hear me whispering. Now it's actually not the original pitch. It is the original pitch and emphasis, but in this one it's slightly pitched up.
Play.
And you can't really hear it in the the beat itself. It's kind of like in the background.
Stop.
And
unsoloed.
Unsolo this.
29 drum fill
to show you.
Play. Stop.
You can hear it a little bit, but it's not meant to, just like some other stuff in here, it's not meant to take center stage. So if I solo this next one.
29 soloed drum fill 2 item.
This is a drum fill.
Play. 2
actually,
F, 1 F, play. Stop. Bar 16, bar 17.
A copy
play.
of
Stop.
the drum fill from part 1. So I just took that track and copied it into this folder. Now if I unsolo it.
30 fills 1 item. Solo. Play. Stop. Play.
Now this is part of the drum section that keeps this thing going. And this is from the older Amapiano pack. That's what keeps it intact.
Unsolid. 31 fills 2
and
1
then there's
solo.
Another fill.
Play.
And this is like a percussion thing. And this is not from Afrobeat producers. This is actually something else. This is what is this? I feel like it's from a pack that I know.
1BB Beats drum loop 10 130.
I think it's by BB Beats, but it's not from Afrobeat producers. This is
30 fills 1 from 31 solo fills 2.
What's it called? Another producer. Or producers. I'm not sure if it's plural or if it's a single producer. But
play.
Now I made it like this because if you listen, they actually blend. So if I solo the other one again,
30 solo,
you can hear how they fit together.
Play.
So I feel like they really complement each
other. Solo.
If I
31 soloed fills 2 unsoloed. 30 fills 1 item. 32 crash 3 items.
Moving down. There are
play. Stop.
Crashes. You know, I call these crashes because they sort of act like a crash. In truth, they're not necessarily crashes. They're more like transitions.
Take -1.
Oops.
Take 2F 1FX 3. Dot wave
and
bar
this
19.
Comes from a free Afrobeat pack. I think it's by Lion and Winner. I can't remember what it is. But this comes from them.
Play.
And it's essentially
Stop.
a transition. If I unsolo, you
Unsoloed.
can tell.
Play. Stop.
Up, and there's me whispering. So if I scroll down more,
33 drop 1 item.
this is the drop.
So, play.
And if I go to it,
1F. Play.
this is like a little FX. This is actually not even like an
Stop.
Afro beat producers thing or anything I've necessarily heard in Afro as far as I've heard.
1FX. 10.
This is actually from a trap kit because I am primarily a trap, drill, and lo-fi producer, though I do like produce Afro beats from time to time. This is from a trap kit.
Play.
And if you
Stop.
listen,
Unsoloed.
it's right here.
Play. Stop.
So that's where it actually like starts.
Soloed.
Now,
Unsoloed. 34 open hat 1
go
soloed.
here.
Play.
This is an
Stop.
open hat.
1 4
These are my
1
hats. These were also taken from Deadline.
play.
And that's one of the hats. There's another one that I'm gonna solo in a second. So if I
Stop.
go down one,
35-second open hat 1
you
item.
can hear it say second open hat. So if I solo
Soloed.
this, you can hear both of them.
Play.
So those are
Stop.
the hats.
36 snare 1 item.
And I also
Soloed.
took this snare from my track Deadline. So I reused a lot of my Deadline tracks in this. Especially like the drums and the mallets that you heard earlier. A lot of this is from Deadline. Not all of it, but like I'd say maybe like 20% of it. Heck, maybe we could even like reduce that to like 15 or 10%. But like there are quite a couple of things that were taken from Deadline in this thing. So if we play it now,
Play.
this is from Deadline. These are not loops. These are my doings.
Stop.
So if we unsolo these, I'm actually going to press Alt F6,
All tracks unsoloed.
which unsolos everything, so I don't have to go back and unsolo things.
37 Afrobeat producers Mondum Kmich 114 BPM
Now,
bass 2
I
items.
didn't label this because I usually press F2 to label my tracks. This is actually unlabeled, but you can obviously tell it's Afrobeat producers because it just said it.
Play.
Now, this is the second loop. This is part of the second loop, one of the stems of the second loop.
Stop.
If I
38 Afrobeat
go down,
soloed.
you can actually tell.
Play. 39 Afrobeat produced
Just keep soloing.
Play. 40 Afrobeat soloed. 40 soloed Afrobeat producers
theirs
Mondum Kmich
as well.
114. 41 Afrobeat play. 42 Afrobeat soloed. 43 lead 2 items soloed. Unsoloed. Stop.
That is basically most of the loop.
Play. Bar
And if I
play.
now, you remember
Stop.
how I said previously that my logs stopped? Well, that's because
Bar 20 bar play. Bar 20
at
play. Bar 20 play.
bar 26, the loop has its own logs. And I actually customized this loop's logs, if I can find it. Hold on, which one
42
is it?
soloed Afrobeat producers Mondum Kmich 114 BPM Vibe 2 item.
wish I had
41
actually,
soloed Afrobeat producers Mondum Kmich 114. All
you know what,
tracks
unsolo.
play.
Now I
Stop.
have to do some searching.
40 so play.
Okay, right here. Perfect.
Stop.
Now-
Unsol.
These logs were not like this in the loop. I actually did some modifications in terms of how it sounds.
Soloed.
Notice how they hit harder.
Play.
They're more defined. Now,
Stop.
here's how I did it. So, on this track, there's
F edit list 1
FX.
list. VST. SIE Madix Diablo.
And this is
Venom
the Cymatics Diablo plugin. Now what this is, it's actually a drum enhancer. So if I
FX output
go in
mix
here,
invert polarity.
this time I went to the parameters by pressing P instead of tabbing through, so I can just use my arrow keys to like go through them.
Mode 4. Value slider mode 1.
Now if I scroll down,
magnitude punch 6.
you will see that the punch
Value slider 0%.
is at 0, so I didn't want any punch. I left that alone.
Punch bypass boost 8. Value slider 98%.
You can notice that the boost is at 98%. And the reason this is at 98%
boost frequency
is because the frequency of the bass that is being boosted
value slider 140 hertz
is 140 hertz. Now, if I put it at 17, it's not going to do much. It's actually not really going to cause anything. I was doing some more increasing to the bass on a like the higher bass range. So if I go down further,
boost bypass 10.
That is to bypass the boost. I don't want that. So if we go down a bit further,
boost mode 11.
So and I tap to the right.
Value slider kick 2.
Now this is set to kick 2. And honestly, it doesn't necessarily matter what you set it to as long as it fits like what you're trying to boost. If you're trying to boost a snare, obviously you want to set it to snare. But I left this at kick because I feel like it just fits it better. It's not a kick, but the sound it makes just makes it like, sound, it just makes the logs sound way more defined and clearer. They stand out more.
Parameter body 12.
Now the body, this is where things get interesting.
Value slider 84%.
So the body is what makes it so wide and emphasized. And this is essentially how it sounds.
Play.
And just to show you guys the difference, in a sec, I will actually bypass Cymatics Diablo and show you guys how it sounds originally.
Body, heat, 14.
And the heat,
value, slider 10%.
I think the heat, I left everything else alone.
Heat, sizzle,
yeah.
sizzle, width,
all of this.
20. Value, slider 50%.
Oh wait, no, the width. I think I did. Did I mess with the width? I think I did. Maybe I didn't, but it's set to 50%. So it's definitely a bit wider.
Width, bypass, width.
So
frequency.
Now,
clip, 24.
The rest of these I didn't screw around with, so we're gonna press escape.
Venom modified.
And I'm going to hit B, which is the bypass key. So
stop.
First I'm going to play it without the drum enhancer. So I'm gonna press B.
FX bypassed.
I'm gonna play it without it.
Play.
Now notice how they're not as boosted. They don't punch as hard. Now I'm going to unbypass it.
FX. Play.
They make it stand out more. And they do sound a little bit distorted, but that's what I was going for. I wanted it to be more of like a distorted log. So that's that. So we're gonna uninstall that.
41 Afrobeat producers Mondum Kmij 114.
And we're going to go to
43 lead 2. 42 Afro. 40.
Now, this here.
Soloed. Play. 2 4 1 4. Play.
My lead. So these are the leads.
2 4 1.
Or like this is the first part before the saxophones, and this is actually
FX. List 1 list. VSTI. Monsters.
Not a real steel drum or steel pan. This is a synth called Monster Synth. And the preset it uses is
Combo Box Mallet 11 Caribbean Lead collapsed.
Mallet 11 Caribbean Lead. Or Caribbean Lead. So it basically sounds like one.
Play.
Now notice,
Stop.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm pitch perfect, so I can notice it. But you can probably hear it drift off tune a bit. And I did this on I can't speak today, I'm sorry. I did this on purpose, actually, because what I wanted to make it do is almost sound like the person was not hitting the steel pan or steel drum accurately all the time. So I sort of made it, I wouldn't say more realistic, but I sort of made it so that it's not always accurate. There's like a bit of off balance or offset.
Play. Stop.
Now, if we go back, there is actually effects on this.
U F add remove list one
So
list.
this is the monster synth, but if we go further down,
VST3 tape cassette 2 Xylem audio.
This is a tape cassette plugin. And usually I use these for my lo-fi tracks, but I used it for this. And the reason is because it makes it a bit more damper, and it doesn't make it stand out as much. It sort of makes it a bit more muffled, and you can tell because if I bypass this, I'm going to tab right.
Edit 0 preset perm but 2 in 2 UI but FX active checkbox checked.
And I'm going to uncheck this box.
Uncheck. Not checked.
And if you listen now.
Play.
It sounds way too attacky. It doesn't sound nice. It sounds like
Stop.
It's being hit instantly. So what I did was I added this.
Check.
And it made it sound like it was being, like, there was like some delay on it.
Play.
If you listen closely, you can still hear it sound
Stop.
like it's being hit instantly, but it's less obvious unless you like solo it, or just hear it on its own. So I'm gonna shift tab, and that's actually how I move backward. I forgot to tell you guys. How I move backward is shift plus tab.
Preset combo edit list one list.
And there are still a bunch of effects on this.
VSTI
so if I go down,
monsters VST3 JS channel time delay or 3 of 3.
This also has a channel time delayer, and this is what makes it like a more of a stereo effect.
Play.
So it sounds like it's being played on both sides.
Stop. Venom
so that's enough of those.
Unsolved 44 flute 1 item.
Now this is a flute.
Play.
This belongs to the loop. This is not my flute.
Stop. Unsoloed. 1 afro. 45 wah 1 item.
Now this.
Play. Stop. 1 what vox dot. Play. Stop.
Oh, I forgot to talk about this. So this is actually
1
a
what
vocal.
vox B2.
And what purpose this serves.
Play. Stop.
I'm going to show you guys. So if I unsolo
all track play.
It's like a preparation for the drop. I honestly don't know why I added it. I feel like it's a bit out of place, but
play.
I don't know.
Stop.
And there's another vocal we're going to get to in a second that you can probably hear. So I'm going to go down.
46 crash vocal 1 item. So play.
Okay.
Stop.
And I called that crash vocal because it's preparing for the actual intro.
Play.
So
Stop.
if I unsolo it.
Play. Stop.
So that's what it does. So there's quite a bit of vocals over here.
47 choir 1 item.
Now, here's the fun part. This is what sort of held it together and the last part, like the finale. So there are actually 2 choir tracks. Now, on its own, it's going to sound really weird. So if I solo it, it's actually panned to the left.
Play. Stop. 1 4. Play.
And these are my chords, by the way.
Stop.
So that is pan to the left, but there is another choir that comes in at bar 26.
48 choir 1 item.
And
Soloed.
this is the other one. Now, it uses the same chords, but a different preset. And these are both using Monster Synth, which was the lead or the steel pan / drum sound before. So if you listen to this,
140.
this one is pan to the right.
Play.
So now you have a choir on both sides.
Stop.
So that's how those work. And
All
if I
tracks
go further down,
49 end of folder reverb.
now this is a track, and if you notice, there are no items on this. This is because some of those tracks that you just heard actually go to this reverb track. This is a track that, if I solo it, makes some of these tracks have some reverb.
Play.
So you can hear that some of the loop has reverb, as well as these vocals. They're all going to this track, this single track.
Stop.
So that's to give all of those reverb, to make them stand out a bit more, and to basically provide like a little reverb effect on it. So with that, that's the full entire thing. What's left to show you guys is the master. So I'm going to close this folder. Go all the way.
30. Master. 27. Open folder. Small.
Closed. Okay, there we go. Now, what's left to show you guys is the master track.
1. Master. All tracks on bar.
Now,
master.
Honestly, at first, this did not sound very good. I will be honest, and hold on, I'm going to solo everything.
FX.
Or sorry, bypass everything.
Add but remove list 1 JS 3 band EQ 1 of 3 edit free.
We're gonna bypass all this.
Edit list remove trigger edit
If I can.
0 edits free edits mid hot edit output.
Where's the bypass button?
Edit combo preset param 2 in 2 FX active checkbox checked.
Okay.
Uncheck.
We're gonna bypass this.
Edit triggers plus add remove list JS 3 band EQ 1 of 3.
So that's the equalizer.
VST REA comp.
This is a compressor.
Add auto limit output preview edit drop wet out edit hip edit look envelope knees edit race weird auto edit release edit edit FX U FX active uncheck.
We're gonna bypass this
not
as
check.
well.
You
and then we have one more thing to bypass.
Combo edit list remove list JS event horizon limiter / clipper 3
so
of 3.
So this is a
active
a limiter and a clipper. So it like tries to do both. It tries to limit clipping and it tries to decrease it so that it doesn't go over the threshold of 0 decibels. And if I bypass this as well,
edit selected add
you will
0 trigger edit
essentially start to notice
FX 2 in 2
how bad this sounds without
uncheck
any mastering.
Play.
See how it's struggling? It's being drowned out. Now just wait until the kick comes in. You'll notice what happens. It can't do it. It's struggling. You can hear it's being compressed. So we're gonna actually stop this. We're gonna unbypass all of this.
Check.
And we're gonna show you guys.
Triggered. Add list 1 list. J VST
mastered.
0 edits preview preview.
Keep in mind I'm not a good masterer.
Limit out.
So
drop wet out REA edit selected hip edit look detect weird auto edit release edit UI FX active checkbox not check.
We're gonna check that.
U2 preset combo
and
param edit list 1 JS bypassed VST REA comp JS 3 band VST JS VST REA comp Cocos 2 of 3 active.
Okay, no.
JS 3 band EQ 1 of 3 bypassed.
This is our EQ.
Edit.
And we want to unbypass this as well.
Edit FX com remove add 0 triggers edit FX active checked.
Okay. Unbypass rather, sorry.
Play.
Now it's actually balanced. Now
stop.
I did quite a few things with this equalizer.
list 1 JS,
First,
3 band, 0, edits, low, dB, slider 0.0.
the low, I left alone. And this is a 3-band, so there's low, mid, and high. So I left the low alone.
Frequency, Hertz, slider 7568.0.
And I didn't screw with this, as far as I'm aware, at least.
Edits, mid, dB,
now the mid,
slider 3.0.
I brought up by 3 decibels, because it sounded, there was no mid there. I just was not, it didn't feel right. If I drag it down to 0,
minus,
down arrow,
minus
I
4,
went too far.
minus 2.1.0.0, play.
I feel like it's missing a lot. The mid-range isn't being projected in that, so I brought it up to 3.
4, 5, 3.0, play.
Now I feel like it's being really projected. So now if we go
frequency,
to
Hertz, edits, high,
the
dB,
high,
slider 13.0.
Now this was originally 0. And it was not good. So this is at plus 13, which sounds really high and unnecessary. But if I turn this down to 0, you can see why I
12,
did this.
minus 1, 1.2, 0, play.
Listen to how, like, everything just does not come out in terms of the highs. Everything just sounds so... Even the tambourine, you can barely tell it's there unless you listen. So what I did was I dragged this up to 13.
16, 7, 4, 13.0, play.
Now you can really hear the shaker. Everything that's high is more projected and more obvious. And now you can tell that tambourine is there. It's really obvious. It's clear it's there.
Stop.
Now,
output, dB,
I didn't
slider 0.0.
screw with any of this, other than the high and the mid. The lows I figured were fine, so I left those alone. If I go to our compressor,
add remove 0, list VST, REA comp.
I actually used a preset for this. If I shift tab, which is to go backward,
envelope, weird, auto, edit, release, edits.
I probably should have went forward, because now I'm going through a bunch of stuff.
Edits, FX, UI, 2, preset, combo box stock, master bus glue collapsed.
Now, this one is called Master Bus Glue, which essentially what it does is it tries to bring everything together. Instead of trying to, like, compress everything and just sort of, like, mess it all up, it tries to sort of, like, create a balance that I feel like actually makes sense. Because by default, when you import this thing, it does not compress correctly. It, like, just... it doesn't sound good at all. So that's what I used for this. It's called Glue, and this is a built-in plugin for Reaper. It's designed for Reaper. So if we go left,
list 1 JS event horizon limiter.
We have our event horizon limiter / clipper, which is also built in. And if I go to the right,
threshold slider 0.0.
I left the threshold alone, but
ceiling slider minus 3.0.
The ceiling, I decreased to minus 3 decibels. So if I were to go to the master track right now, although it sounds loud, or although it might seem loud, it's actually at minus 3. It's making it, like, it's reducing all the digital frequencies in terms of how loud it is. Now, of course, this will make the what's it called? Some of the things higher, like the LUFS. It will make it a bit higher. Maybe, I think when I rendered this, because that's what it's called in Reaper, when you render something, that's how you render the track itself. I think, like, the LUFS was around, like, maybe, like, minus 10 or minus 9, which usually is a bit, like, not necessarily dangerous, but not really recommended. But it falls under 0 decibels in terms of, like, actual like peak. So when I render it, it doesn't actually clip. It doesn't show it clips. It actually shows that it's -3. Um, so that's what it's set to. So yeah, with that is I know that took a while, but as a blind person, it's gonna take a bit to really demonstrate things like this. But with that is the that's Venom. That's how I constructed Venom. That's the entire thing. So yeah, that basically sums it all up. With that being said, I hope that this inspires others to check out, how visually impaired people or just anyone with disabilities does things. Some people might believe that, a blind person is not really a music producer or cannot do it, but trust me, it is possible. We are capable of a lot of things. And um, just know that, we are, I wouldn't say fully capable, but extremely capable of the same things that um, people who have vision are capable of. So, with that being said,
Venom
that is Venom. We're not going to save, so I'm going to hit Alt F4, which is the key to uh, exit Reaper, or to exit a lot of things. And it's asking if I want to save. We're not going to save because I screwed around with a couple of things, and I want to keep the project intact. So I'm actually not going to save this. But that, guys, that's Venom. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and to all those who participate in the contest or are part of the Afrobeat producers community, and if anyone else is watching that is not a part of the community, I hope you also enjoyed this deconstruction. And yeah, I'll see you later. Peace out.